Hi everyone, welcome to the Grimdark Gamers channel, and in this video we're going to be summarising and discussing some of the rumours regarding Kill Team Season 3, and believe it or not, rumours have already started coming out for the next edition of Kill Team. So the purpose of this video is to basically summarise all the rumours that have come out so far that have at least a little bit of credibility to them, as well as getting your reaction on some of them, particularly the rumoured teams. So I know you've been busy with real life stuff, much more important than toy soldiers, so I haven't been paying as much attention to it as I have, so I wanted to get your reactions from that, and then basically put out in a video what has been discussed regarding the next edition of Kill Team. Now I want to emphasize we are not a rumours channel. We have no more authority or on rumours than you guys watching this at home. However, Games Workshop has been leaking like a sieve, well, or a bucket with the hole punched out at the moment, because the rumours are coming thick and fast, to the point that if you're members of any like Kill Team communities on Discord or on Facebook, you've probably heard some of these rumours already from some fairly credible sources. So I wanted to get into that for this video. Alright, so let's begin and discuss the first rumour. Rumour number 1, Kill Team Salvation, the first box for Season 3, has been pushed back to the new year. A little bit surprising because Games Workshop's release schedule recently has kind of been all over the place, which is why I'm actually inclined to believe this rumour, but everyone was expecting to see it initially in August, September, and then, considering how late the announcement was, sometime around Christmas. But then, like, the main rumour mills, the ones with a bit of credibility like Valrak, have started saying that they've heard that it's actually coming in the new year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised by that news, other than obviously, yes, we thought it would be coming out this year, but to your point, with the release schedule the way it's been, it's unsurprising. Season 2 was kind of a bit all over the place, and just in general, they've had a lot of production issues and shipping issues, so I'm not terribly shocked by that one.
Yeah, so this is why I think this one is probably true. Like you just said, the Season 2 release schedule was all over the place. We had the first 2 boxes come out right next to each other, then there was the delay, and then box 3 and 4. Okay, fair enough. The new Epic game, what's it called, Legion Imperialis?
Something like that, yeah.
That was already meant to have released. We have had all of the Warhammer community articles, and it's been absolutely ages since those articles came out, and we still have not heard a concrete release date for the game. So that's...
Yeah, and I mean, by now you would have expected to hear something about that.
So when you take that into account, and the fact at time of recording we're almost halfway through November, we've seen what the Christmas Battle Force box sets are going to be for 40k and AOS, we know their prices, we know their release date, and we've heard nothing about Salvation. That kind of tells me, yeah, we're not getting it this year. Now here I'm just speculating here, that this is nothing about I've heard from rumours, but do you think Games Workshop would push back the next edition of Kill Team, so instead of it releasing sometime around September, August next year, which would fit with their traditional 3-year cycles, they'll either not do that, or they'll go, no, we'll still release in September/August, and then all of Kill Team Season 3 is basically crammed into 9 months. I could see that happening.
I could definitely see that happening. I would think that their production schedule and their release schedules are timed with each of the different releases that they've got for the different games. If they can avoid pushing a large edition out into another year, you've got to think that they're going to want to do that, especially since they're not going to want to miss out on the revenue that Season 3 is, that the new edition is going to.
Yeah, new edition releases of popular games are big windfalls for Games Workshop, so I could see them just rushing Season 3 out the door in order to get to the new edition.
Definitely.
Which would be a bit of a shame. I'm not a huge fan of speedy release schedules, but is what it is. Anyway, discussion of that can come in another video. And just to kind of confirm that the release schedule is going to be all kinds of wacky for Kill Team Season 3, Games Workshop have announced their next big reveal event. It's going to be an hour long. It's on the 17th of November, so at time of recording, that's only 8 days' time. Kill Team is on the schedule. So there's a good chance we're going to see what the box after Salvation contains before Salvation itself is even released. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty nice segue into discussing what the upcoming teams are going to be and what's pretty much more or less confirmed for Salvation at this point, if you're to believe some of the more reliable rumour sources. So let's get into it. Now this is where you haven't really heard anything about the upcoming teams. Okay, so I'm actually really curious to see what your reactions are going to be.
This is all new to me. I have been focusing on my real life work a lot recently, so I haven't really had time to...
Okay, so there's kind of two main rumour sources here that I'm kind of parroting. The first one is kind of less credible. It was on a post on the Kill Team subreddit by someone who initially posted what Salvation was going to include, like a week or two before it came out. Everybody kind of rubbished it, and then he was proven correct. And now he's come back and said, look, I've been proven correct, and here is what I've heard regarding Season 3. The reason why I think it's slightly less credible is a lot of the stuff that was said and the way it was posted, and what we already knew beforehand was you could kind of logically infer. But I'm going to mention it anyway, and then I'll get into the more certain rumours. So, the new teams they said were coming, and this source also said that next summer we'll see the launch of the next edition of Kill Team, but they didn't have any news of that. Again, something which can be logically inferred. A new Chaos Cult, a new Gene Stealer Cult, a new Tau Team,
Okay.
and a new Dark Elder team, specifically Drukhari Rax. So another like mono unit from 40k.
Okay.
This I don't think is hugely credible. I could be massively wrong here. I guess we'll see in a couple months' time when we know what the next two boxes are. But the Chaos Cults have kind of already been done to death.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say done to death, okay, we have one Chaos Cults team, but I pretty much use this all of the Chaos Cults models.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty comprehensive Gene Stealer Cult team as well.
We do.
And it would just be weird to have two Gene Stealer Cult teams, so one has Gene Stealers and the other doesn't.
Absolutely. I would have expected more along the lines of having a dedicated Tyranid team that you could take some Gene Stealers in.
Yep. And, well, we'll get onto that in a moment. And finally, it kind of contradicts what Varrock sources say, and Varrock sources have been pretty spot on for most of Kill Team. Really, the only thing that he got wrong was he thought there was going to be like a Space Hulk matchup for Kill Team when there wasn't, but everything else he got dead on. So, less certain about this one. So what are the more certain rumours regarding the next box set for Kill Team, which will be more or less confirmed, I'm imagining, at the next reveal event. So here we go. This is continuing the theme that Salvation has set, where it looks like this season's Kill Teams are primarily going to be 40k units first, rather than the really cool bespoke teams, which, you know, you see off the battlefield, like the Inquisition, the Navy Imperial Breaches, stuff like that, the Rogue Trader team. These Kill Teams look like they're mainly 40k stuff. Here we go. First new team that's been rumoured to come, and this is from Varrock sources, and he seems pretty certain of this. In the next box set, Drukhari Mandrakes.
Okay.
So, another single unit team.
Yeah.
The Mandrake models do need refreshing. They came out, what, 5th edition, I believe, 40k? It was when Games Workshop Winchester was our main store. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
that's going back a bit, right? So they're the ones, because I know you're not a huge Drukhari player, they're the ones that kind of look like, imagine Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII with jet black skin, wreathed in green flames, and they wear skirts made out of people.
Yes, I do know the models. Okay, I mean that's interesting. I don't know. That doesn't really.
Seems a bit unnecessary to me.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've already got Drukhari.
Yeah, the
Kill
Hand of
Team.
Archon team seems like the de facto Dark Elder team. And honestly, I don't mind the idea of them double dipping into teams. I think that's actually really cool sounding. But not before we've got a Tyranid kill team or a Grey Knight kill team.
That's the point that I was about to make, which is, there's nothing wrong with us having multiple teams of different factions. I mean, how many Space Marine teams have we got?
How many Elder teams?
How many Elder teams have we got now? That's fine, but kind of get all of the factions done first so that at least everybody's got one team to play from that faction before you start, as you say, double dipping on other ones. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, but...
Alright, so, with that being said, I'm very curious to how you're going to feel about the next team.
Ooh,
okay,
right.
So, the next team is one that I would have been massively interested in, certainly am for 40k, and apparently the sculpts are amazing. And I think you'll like them, especially based on some recent Black Library books you've been enjoying. But it's another double dip. Night Lord Space Marines. Yeah, see?
Yeah, okay. I mean...
This was the bit I wanted to get your reaction on the most.
Ooh. Oh.
She likes Night Lords.
I do now. Okay, well, that I was not expecting. I kind of thought that we were pretty much covered for Chaos Space Marines with the Legionaries.
Still one of the best and most interesting teams in the entire game, in my opinion.
I mean, what I would say is I can kind of see why, because obviously the Night Lords are quite different within the Chaos Space Marine lore. And so I can see how they could have some pretty interesting rules that would only apply to them that maybe you couldn't capture just using the Legionary rules. So I am very excited by that.
The models are meant to be fantastic as well.
And I am quite enthused by the idea of it, especially since I did really love the Black Library books that I read. But, again, double dipping.
There's a double dip, right?
And so I kind of feel like that's super exciting, and I'm totally up for it, and I'm really interested, but maybe that could have come, again, after we've got some Tyranids.
Yeah, so mixed feelings on that one from me. Really excited to see what the Night Lord models look like. Apparently it's going to be an upgrade sprue, which makes sense. That kind of goes back to the whole upgrade sprue for one kit, and brand new kits for the other team.
Yep.
Which obviously they don't do for every release, but it's something that they do for a lot of them. But yeah, as someone who has, well, as people I should say, because it's a shared army of you, as Tyranid players, starting to feel a little bit personal now.
Yeah, like how long are we not going to get any Tyranids?
It's got to the point now where the Tyranids, which have units which are a perfect fit for kill team, even more so than other races, the fact that they've still not turned up is now, it's just entered into the realm of weird. It's just bizarre.
It really is. And the other thing that I find particularly weird about it is they're like the current big bad of 10th Ed. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to be like, here is the Tyranids in 10th edition, here are the Tyranids in Kill Team, have at it. So it's just...
Yeah, it's a bit like when Kill Team, this edition of Kill Team first launched, and it took ages for Space Marine to turn up. It got to the point where it's like, okay, hang on, this feels weird now. We're there with Tyranids. So, yeah, especially if there's any kind of credibility to the previous rumor, or the previous rumor provided on the Kill Team subreddits. No Tyranids mentioned there. Unless, his source was being intentionally vague. Instead of mandrakes, they meant racks. He got confused. Instead of new Gene Stealer cult, they meant a new Gene Stealer team. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
What is curious about this is apparently he hasn't said anything yet, but Varek has already teased that he's already heard the first rumblings of what the teams are going to be after this alleged Night Lords and Mandrakes team. But we'll see, because he hasn't said what they are yet.
I was going to say, spoilers, it's not Tyranids.
Well, it might be. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But, okay. So, that's what's going to apparently be coming out in the next box, and I guess we'll find out on the 17th. That takes us on to the rumours which have started to come out from the rumour mill regarding the next edition of Kill Team. I'm just going to call it the next edition of Kill Team, or maybe Kill Team 24. Some people think it's Kill Team 3rd edition, but actually what edition we're currently on in Kill Team is a very murky subject because there's a lot more editions than people realise. Anyway, what have we heard? Well, we don't have any rumour sources like I said earlier in the video, but someone that I do talk to on Discord had a really good track record when it came to Kill Team Season 2. And they've started hearing things regarding Kill Team Season 3, so I'm just doing the whole Chinese whispers stuff and passing it on. So take this with a huge amount of salt, especially as me personally, my feelings of these rumours are, I think they're less genuine rumours. And I'm not saying this person's wrong, but maybe their sources. Just because they feel less like rumours and more like the conclusion you would come to if you logically extrapolated where Games Workshop were heading with Kill Team, and based on what they've done with Warcry. So let's get into it. So we've already mentioned this, no one's surprised. Release date will probably be end of summer next year.
Yep.
Next edition, okay, fair enough. Fits Games Workshop's 3-year cycle, which is way too short in my opinion, but that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, the next thing that rumour mentioned is they're probably going to do the same thing with Kill Team as they did with Warcry, which is the next edition is most likely just going to be a tidy up edition. Rather than being something completely new, it's going to feel and play a lot like this one. The only differences are all the stuff that they've learned from this season will be integrated into the game. And then there's probably going to be a streamlining process, a simplification of some of the rules that people frequently get wrong. So we're talking about stuff like line of sight, your personal pet peeve, the
obscuring rule, yeah.
And maybe things like climbing, stuff of that nature. It's all going to be simplified a little bit. I didn't mind those rules too much. I think it's the way they were written was the main issue, but it wouldn't surprise me if that part of the game was simplified.
That would make sense.
Again, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, especially that's basically what they did with Warcry, was they just kept the rule system and they tidied it up.
Exactly. This is why I'm saying this feels less like rumours to me and more like logical inferences.
Yeah.
So the final Kill Team rumour I've heard regarding the next season, and again, I've not heard it from a source, this is just what has been discussed online on various Discord chats I'm a part of by other members of the community who apparently have heard stuff, including one person who has a little bit of a positive track record. And again, to me this sounds like a logical inference because they did this with Warcry, but it still might be a little bit unpopular, is what's going to happen to the teams. Now before everyone panics, all the bespoke teams will probably stay, and I actually think this is going to be a good thing. What the current rumour is, and I believe this is what happened with Warcry, is all the bespoke teams of the previous edition of Warcry, their rules were basically updated or just tweaked a little bit to fit with the new edition, and then all compiled into a single new compendium.
Okay.
I think this is a great thing because one of the most common complaints I see from new players trying to get into Kill Team is, where do I find my team's rules? Because they're kind of all over the place. So that's a really good thing. And that makes sense. Get all of the bespoke teams from the previous edition and stick them into the compendium. But the flip side of that is, in the same breath, what people have mentioned is that all the current compendium teams, which will only ever get you buy rules, will be taken out of the game. So that means no Death Guard team, no Custodes team, no Hive Fleet team. Anything that was in the current compendiums, no Grey Knights team.
No demons.
Yep, no demons team. How do I feel about that? Honestly, if this is true, and I can actually see that happening, I'm kind of mixed about it. On the one hand, I actually think it's a good thing. When those compendium rules were written, they were very simplistic. They were only ever get you buy rules. And there's stuff in there which was designed when Kill Team was, this edition of Kill Team was first being designed from the ground up, and hasn't panned out as the games have been fleshed out. There's a lot of, like, fire teams as a mechanic isn't used.
No.
And it's got a very old design philosophy behind those teams. So I can see them, there's a reason why Games Workshop doesn't balance those teams anymore in the balanced data slates. They've kind of been left behind intentionally. So I think it's good for the health of the game to leave those behind now. And it also makes sense if they're going to do that, that the rest of the teams which come out in this season are more compendium feeling teams, just with more bespoke rules.
Yeah.
Because you could argue, like I said, the Scorpions, Craftworld Elder, and the Scouts were a compendium team as well. So I don't mind it too much if the rest of the teams in this season are kind of compendium style teams, because then we won't mourn their loss so much when those rules are removed from the old compendium in the next edition.
Yeah, it would have been nice though, not necessarily for all of the compendium. I mean, obviously, yes, it would have been great if all of the compendium teams ended up with their own bespoke rules in the same vein that, you know, we have the legionary team and so on. But if they really are going to go down that route of everything that's bespoke right now, that gets put into a new compendium and the old compendium teams are out, it would have been really nice if they could have given those teams rules. Yeah,
again, as I said, as a Tyranid player, it's starting to feel a little bit personal now. This is why, even though it hasn't really been mentioned in any of the rumour sources, I can see Tyranid still potentially coming out this season. I mean, that's my hope. Why? Because I do think they're going to get a release similar to how the Votan did, the Hearthkin Warriors. They got their new release in 40k, we waited a few months, and then we got the upgrade sprue for their kill team, Hearthkin Salvagers. And I can see them doing that with the Tyranids now, and the timing would kind of make sense. Again, this is pure speculation from me. Where it does suck, and this is what I don't like about this rumour if it is true, is I do enjoy some of the compendium teams. If you've watched any of the battle reports on our channel, you'll see that we actually favour quite a lot of the compendium teams. So, Grey Knights players, if this is true, you're just not going to have any representation in Kill Team for a long time. The kits are so old, I personally don't see Games Workshop releasing an upgrade sprue for them. That's not going to happen. It's going to take a complete range refresh from 40k, then several months to go by, and then maybe we'll get a bespoke Kill Team.
Yeah, and then an upgrade kit.
Yeah. Again, I have no rumours for this. This is purely my speculation, but based on what we've seen with the Kill Team releases, I can see that happening. Same thing for the Demons. It seems bizarre to me that we haven't had a Death Guard Kill Team. Because we haven't had a Death Guard bespoke Kill Team, I feel it's because Games Workshop think that the Legionary rules with the Mark of Nurgle will probably cover that. Just in the same way I don't think we'll get a World Eaters team, because the Legionary rules with the Mark of Khorne cover that pretty well.
Yeah, which is how I play my World Eaters team.
Yeah, and they feel like World Eaters.
And they feel like World Eaters.
Now people might say, well, hang on, what about the Thousand Suns? They got a completely bespoke team. Yes, that's a good point, but the Legionary team with the Mark of Tzeentch does not make for Thousand Suns.
No.
It does not. They don't feel like Thousand Suns at all, so it makes sense that they would get them and then the others don't.
Which kind of ties into the whole, if it's true, Night Lords rumour. Because if you took Night Lords and played them with the Chaos Undivided,
wouldn't feel like
they
Night
wouldn't
Lords.
feel like Night
Yeah.
Lords.
So, I mean, as a fan of Chaos, I think that sucks if it's true. I want to see bespoke Death Guard, I want to see bespoke World Eaters, but I can see the reason for not having them. So yeah, let us know how you feel about this potential that the old Compendium teams might be removed from the next edition of Kill Team. Like I said, I'm mixed about it. On one hand, I can see how it's good for the game. It will allow the game to continue to grow, and we can see these teams come back with a much more modern design philosophy. But on the other side, I do think it sucks, because we've been able to tell some really good stories with the Compendium teams.
Yeah.
Using factions that won't have any representation if those teams get removed. So yeah, a bit of a contentious one. But that's it for now. What was your most favoured rumour there? I think I know.
Well, of course, it's going to be that the Night Lords are coming with some, of their own special rules, which, if true, is very cool, as much as I think it's a shame that they're also double dipping.
Yes. So, I guess we'll find that out next week now, on the 17th. And let us know what you think in the comments about not just the possibility of the old Compendium teams being removed for the next edition of Kill Team, but the stuff that's been currently rumoured for Kill Team Season 3. Are you excited for Night Lords? What about you Drukhari players? Your Mandrake models are old, so having a new kit would be pretty nice, but is a Mandrake Kill Team what we really need in this game? Honestly, I could see them fitting in Kill Team, but at the same time the Hand of the Archon does a really good job of representing the Dark Elder at the moment, and we probably need to see some other factions being represented first. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.